Morning peeps, good morning everyone. How's everyone doing? Hopefully you guys are all doing well. Don't forget, if you're new to the channel, like, share, subscribe. Alright, a couple of things to add to your diaries. We haven't done a live watch along in ages. Like, it must be well over a year ago. I think the last one I did might have been Yard Beterbiev. So it's been a long, in fact, let me check this. What was the last watch along I did? It's been a long time. We used to do these quite a lot. Like I used to do all the American cards. I used to stay up to like 5, 6 in the morning. Okay, the last one I did, Usyk Dubois, August 26, 2023. Before that, what did I do before that? I did Jake Paul, Tommy Fury. Beterbiev Yard, yeah, I remember doing that one. Chris Eubank Jr., Liam Smith. So we used to do these quite a lot, but obviously I work at a lot of the big events that I would do watch-alongs for. But there are a few big events coming up that I'm not working on that I do want to do watch-alongs. The first one this Sunday, Ben Whittaker versus Liam Cameron. We have brought back the Sunday Sessions lives, so why not just make that into a watch-along? So we're going to get going at 7 p.m. So 7 p.m. this Sunday, please join me for the watch-along of Ben Whittaker versus Liam Cameron. You got Fraser Clark on that card as well against Ebenezer Tete. So yeah, we'll get going from 7 o'clock and then it will transition into the watch along. The next one, please, for your diary is Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn. I'm not working the event. I just found out a couple of days ago and I was just going to chill and go on holiday, but I thought, you know what? No, let's do a live watch along for that one as well. That one is going to be a marathon. So we're going to start super early. I don't know what time the fight card starts, but I want to cover the whole fight card. So that could be 5, 6, 7 hours. So yeah, Ben Whittaker versus Liam Cameron this Sunday, and then the following Saturday, make sure you stay with me for Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn. So that's 2. I might do the Times Square event or the Canelo Skull event. I'm not quite sure. Those American ones where you stand up until 5, 6 in the morning can be quite long, but we'll see. We'll see how those 2 events go first, and then we'll make our decision. All right, let's talk about the fight card this Sunday. Ben Whittaker versus Liam Cameron. You see the thumbnail, pressure's on, and pressure is on. There's pressure on Liam, obviously, as a fighter, a prideful fighter. I spoke to Liam last week. There is pressure on Liam, but if you were to kind of divvy up the pressure, I'd say 90%, that much is on Ben Whittaker and 10% is on Liam Cameron. Remember, Ben Whittaker is supposed to be the star here. He's the superstar that everyone, including myself, was like, okay, this guy's going to go places. This guy is world level and he's going to go and he's going to beat this person and that person. So it isn't even just a case of him beating Liam Cameron. He can't go life and death with him. If he goes life and death with Liam Cameron, then I guess all our opinions on him prior to the Liam Cameron fight, we have to kind of revisit. This is why pressure is on Ben Whittaker. Ben talks a lot. He's not done much talking in the build up to this fight, which I don't mind. It shows that he's now fully focused. And again, he knows a lot's on the line here. It's 10 rounder, not a 12 rounder. I don't think it makes a difference, if I'm honest with you. I guess Liam is thinking that maybe the team wanted a 10 boxer just because of Ben Whittaker's gas tank. I think Ben's gas tank is okay, but Liam did say in that fight, I think he said to me, I think round 3 or 4, he said he could see or hear, how heavy Ben was breathing. So he thinks that the weight cut's a tough one for Ben. Ben is a massive light heavyweight, so maybe there is an issue there. But Ben has to look spectacular. He does. Let's not forget the narrative going into this fight. The narrative was he would swat away Liam Cameron, and then it's who else? Who next? There was even talks about him going straight in with the likes of Boatsi and Yard and Willie Hutchinson and those guys, like jumping above the Dan Azizes and the Craig Richards of the world to go straight for the top dogs. Obviously, that's kind of been stopped for now. I, for one, think he's a special talent. I do. I'm not off the Ben Whittaker hype train. I'm still very much hyped about Ben Whittaker. Do I have my reservations? Of course. And that's because of the first fight. I mean, that was not the Ben Whittaker I expected to turn up. Maybe there was a bit of arrogance from Ben. I think he would admit that as well privately. Maybe he was just so overconfident that he was already talking about who next and what he's going to eat in the dressing room after the fight. So maybe he kind of looked past Liam like we all did, if we're honest. And now he's fully focused on the job. Andy Lee is now his trainer. I don't know what you can change in someone in one fight camp. I think it takes a while. Like I go back and watch the Joseph Parker fights under Andy Lee, and the first couple are kind of okay. Now he's flying. So it does take a while for you to kind of get rid of old habits that have come through your old training team and then pick on the new habits or pick up the new habits and run with them with your new team. That's not going to be easy. But I do expect him to be fully focused. That's one thing Andy Lee, I think, gets his fighters doing is focus on the job. Like focus on what you need to do. I was with Andy I presented that fight, didn't I? Yeah, I did. And Andy was one of my guests in the studio, and we were having an off-camera conversation about Ben Whittaker, and he said he thinks Ben's super special. In fact, he said, and I think I've mentioned this, so I don't think I'm out of time mentioning it again. He said he thinks Ben's better than everyone already. And I think he meant the English guys as opposed to sort of world level, or the British guys. So he's seen something in Ben that I think he just needs to maybe polish and change a few things. Like, I don't think Ben should get rid of the showboating. I think that's what Ben does. I think that kind of confuses his opponent. I think against Liam, he tried to just fight like just his standard boxer. And I'm like, well, 1 second, that's not what you've done to get there. Like, why change what you've done to get there because the level's gone up a little bit? You shouldn't need to do that. So hopefully we see a bit of this showboating because that's just who he is. It's like, I'm not comparing him to Naz before people jump on me, but that's what made Naz Naz. Naz is showboating. Don't get me wrong. When Naz wanted to kind of sit on his punches and fight, Naz could do that, but Naz's showboating is what made Naz. The one thing Naz did have, which I'm not sure yet if Ben has, is the punch power. Like Naz had incredible punch power, even when he wasn't sitting on his shots. So even when those shots were coming from crazy angles, once they connected, you were out. And I don't know if Ben has that punch power. If he doesn't, it's hard. It's hard at the top table if you don't have that punch power. I mean, you have to be supreme, and I mean Bivol supreme. Bivol uses everything he's got because he doesn't maybe carry the punch power of a Beterbiev, of a Benavidez, of a Callum Smith, right? The really top guys. But what he does have is just incredible boxing ability. I don't know if Ben has Bivol boxing ability, but he's got ability. But what he needs to, or what we need to see is a bit of pop. Is sit on your punches and really dig. Because Liam's going to be there. Liam's going to be there maybe for the whole fight. But I'm predicting a Ben Whittaker stoppage between 6 and 8. So around 6, 7, 8. That's what I'm going for. I kind of do that because I'm not sure. Maybe it's my like and love for Ben that wants to see him sort of pull through. Because we need stars over here, people. Like, we need boxing stars, and Ben is one. Moses Atama's one. Ben's one. They're the people that get the casuals interested. We need these guys. So I do want Ben to win because boxing wins ultimately. And look, I love the Liam Cameron stories. We know the hardships he's been through, and he's getting paid well in this fight as well. So I want Liam to still be around. I think there are some really good fights for Liam, but I really want to see what Ben can do at world level. But obviously to get there, he has to get past Liam Cameron, which isn't going to be easy. Let me quickly bring up the fight card. Obviously Fraser Clark is back. Fraser Clark is taking on Ebenezer Tete. In what is such an important fight for Fraser. Fraser's another one of the good guys of the sport. And I had to go in the ring, as you guys know, and interview Fabio after that Fraser fight. And so I went kind of and did a little beeline for Fraser and had a look at him. And I've never been so scared. And I've seen bad knockouts, but I've never been so scared for a fighter. I was like, oh my God. And so to see him back is so pleasing. It's funny because he's back quicker than Fabio, which is kind of crazy, but to see him back is pleasing. There are some really good fights out there for Fraser Clark. I think, he's in line to fight the winner, David Adelaide, Jimmy TKV. Obviously, he wants it to be Adelaide. I think he's got a bit of a relationship with Jimmy. He'll fight him if he needs to for the British title, but Adelaide makes sense if Adelaide comes through that one. And that's a big fight. That's a really big fight. But we'll see where he is after this Ebenezer Tete fight. He should run through Ebenezer Tete. I think there's loads left with Fraser. And if there is, Ebenezer Tete should not be that big a problem for him. So we'll see how that one plays out. Tyler Denny is back as well. I think this is his first fight since the Hamza Shiraz defeat. So good luck to Tyler. And Lee Cutler is taking on Sam Egginson. That's going to be an interesting scrap. For the WBC International Silver Super Welterweight. I hate these belts. That's not against the guys. I just fucking hate these belts. But it is what it is. All right, I'm going to be in Sheffield on Saturday. Dalton Smith taking on, what's his name? I've got it right. Mathieu Germain from Canada. Obviously, Dalton Smith coming off that Walid Weezer win, which was just a nothing fight. This one's almost, without being too disrespectful, a stay busy fight as well. Obviously, look, on the horizon, they wanted to beat Alberto Puello, who is the WBC 140-pound champion. Dalton Smith is the silver champion, but I think he's now mandatory. So he's going to wait for Puello to have a voluntary, and he wants to have this one to stay busy, which is good. He needs to stay busy. And providing he wins and Puello wins, I think it's a fight that will happen in the UK back end of the year. So Dalton Smith will fight for a world title, providing he gets past Mathieu Germain. Hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, Canadian. So it's going to have a French twist to it on Saturday. Josh Warrington, retirement scares me. Yeah. Look, I thought Josh was done. When Josh lost to Anthony Kakache, put his gloves down, I mentioned it at a press conference. I was like, what Josh has done for the sport has been nothing short of incredible, sensational. Some of the fights he's had. But maybe just feel that there's something left. Maybe there's a few more big fights out there for him. The first things first, get away from super featherweight. You're not a super feather, you are a featherweight. Like the guys at super feather are just far too big. Like far too big. I mean, I think we saw that against Kakache. He was actually quite competitive, but Kakache's size is just too much. So if he can come back down to featherweight, there are some good fights. They're trying to line up this Michael Conlan fight. And when you look at who he's lost to, like Josh still is very good because he's only lost to world level people. Like got stopped by Lee Wood, world level guy. Luis Alberto Lopez was a world level fight. Kiko Martinez was a world level fight. What else? Who else has he had recently? Kakache, obviously, world level fight. These are world level fights. So it's not as bad as it looks. And Mauricio Lara before the head clash, world level fight. So I guess the question is he still a world level fighter? Because 4 of those 5 fights he lost, or has he slipped to like a European level fighter? Who are they matching him up with? He is fighting Asad Khan. This is interesting matchmaking. You guys might remember the name. Asad Khan is actually the guy who fought Michael Conlan recently. And it wasn't that easy work for Michael Conlan. It was an 8-rounder. Michael Conlan won it, obviously on the scorecards. But it wasn't plain sailing. So this is interesting. So you're matching him up with someone that fought the guy that you want to fight. So you can see where you are. Don't mind it. Don't mind it at all. All right. Let's have a look and see what else there is to talk about. Marvin Hagler, Tommy Hearns, 40 years yesterday that they celebrated. Sorry, it was 40th anniversary yesterday of that insanely crazy, wild 3-round shootout. Like, just insane. And I was actually thinking about this. Like, like there's fights that are named after Hagler Hearns. Like, when you see a crazy fight, you say, oh my God, that was like Hagler Hearns. Or you say, is this fight going to be like Hagler Hearns? And I can only think of one other fight that kind of has that same appeal to it. That kind of gets the recognition. And that's maybe Gatti Ward. People say, oh my God, they're fighting in a phone booth like Gatti Ward. Hearns Hagler, we just don't see that. We don't see 2 world level guys go at each other from the very first bell. You hear the term all the time, feel out round. You hear it all the time, right? This is a feel out round. This is a feel out round. That's kind of what the very best do. They kind of have a look at each other. They're fencing. They're looking at each other. Hagler Hearns were like, fuck that. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you. And that's what they did. And it was sensational. Honestly, sensational. Like, like people are so scared of losing, which is why we don't get the best versus the best. Like, Tommy Hearns lost nothing in that fight. He lost nothing. Do you know? Oh, man, honestly. I'm going to watch it again after this. I'm going to watch it again. And we'll see. All right. What else is there to talk about? What's this? Richardson Hitchens couldn't get Teofimo Lopez, so opted for the guy who beat him instead. Obviously, that is George Kambosos. Kambosos getting a world title shot against Hitchens is kind of wild. It's kind of wild. Like, especially after his last performance. I mean, if I'm Kambosos, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm ready for Hitchens. But look, at this stage of his career, he wants the big fights. So it kind of makes sense. But yeah, I'm not sure. All right, guys, girls, that's that. That is that. Thank you very, very much. Again, please set your diaries this Sunday, 7 p.m. Cameron versus Whitaker, or Whitaker versus Cameron watch along. And then next Saturday, we're doing the whole fight card, because it is. Let me quickly bring that up again, because I always feel like I miss out a fight on that card. I don't even know what co-main event is. Obviously, you got Yard versus Arthur again. You got Vidal Riley, who I just saw in the gym, taking on Chev Clark, which for me should be co-main. I think that fight is incredible. Chris Billam-Smith versus Brandon Glanton. Tough fight for Chris Billam-Smith, I'm calling it now. And Liam Smith versus Aaron McKenna. That's a really good card. A really, really good card. I would go... In fact, I'm going to leave my picks. Me and G-Man are going to do it. I'll leave it with G-Man. Me and him can go against each other. But that's not easy. Like, you would say, confidently, the only one that you're like, okay, I think is Yard Arthur. I think that's the only one. Some will say Liam Smith, Aaron McKenna. I don't think that's easy. McKenna's unbeaten. I said that's a tough fight, but great card. Anyway, guys, girls, peace and love.